Welcome to Real Life English. This is the brief on customer focus lessons. Today, we're pulling some key takeaways from a recent educational dialogue to show you how putting the customer's needs at the absolute center of every decision is the ultimate secret to business success.
Right. And the premise of this source is really what makes it so incredibly useful for us.
Mm,
Because, this conversation was originally designed for English language learners.
exactly.
Sam is basically mentoring Lisa, who works in the restaurant industry. And he's teaching her about high-level business strategy. But, and this is the cool part, he is deliberately doing it by mapping out the specific real-world English vocabulary
Yeah.
used to describe these corporate concepts.
Right. So it completely strips away all that, dense boardroom jargon.
Yes.
It forces the actual strategy into very clear behavioral language.
Exactly.
So we are going to extract Sam and Lisa's core principles on this idea of customer focus while simultaneously tracking the specific vocabulary they use to anchor these ideas.
That's good.
Okay, let's unpack this. The text establishes the absolute baseline of customer focus right out of the gate.
Yeah, right away.
It defines it not as a sales tactic or a marketing gimmick, but as a structural alignment. You are putting the customer's needs at the very center of literally everything you do.
Which is huge.
Right. And Sam points to Jeff Bezos and the early philosophy of Amazon as his, prime example.
Ah, yes. Fast delivery, competitive prices, frictionless returns.
Exactly. The entire operational model was just built backward from what the customer desired.
But, building a company backward from the customer's desire,
Yeah.
that requires just a massive data gathering operation.
Right. You need the data.
Yeah, you cannot put the customer first if you are just guessing what first looks like to them.
Which pushes us directly into the foundational phase of their framework, which is how a business reacts to the people it serves.
Right.
So the text zeroes in on the very first point of contact, which, let's be honest, is often negative. And it introduces our first critical vocabulary word here, which is defensive.
Defensive. Yeah, this is such a common trap. Sam tells Lisa that when a customer complains, so say they waited too long for a table, or, I don't know, their food is cold, the immediate human instinct is to completely reject the criticism.
Oh, absolutely. Your walls immediately go up.
Right.
You just want to say, well, we are short-staffed, or, you ordered it that way.
Yeah, you want to fight back. Because it is a deeply ingrained physiological response.
Really?
Yeah, when our work is criticized, the brain often processes it as a literal personal threat.
Oh, wow.
So that fight or flight mechanism kicks in, and being defensive is just the conversational equivalent of putting up a shield.
That makes so much sense.
But Sam is teaching Lisa to short-circuit that biological response. He states this rule that complaints are gifts.
Which, okay, on the surface, that sounds like a terrible platitude you'd read on a dusty corporate break room poster.
Right, like hang in there.
Yeah, exactly. But he actually backs it up with a really ruthless economic reality.
He does.
He says if a customer is unhappy and they do not complain, they simply leave and they never return.
They're just gone.
Gone. You lose the revenue and you have absolutely no idea why.
What's fascinating here is the psychological shift Sam is advocating for.
Okay.
He is pushing the listener to move from a mindset of ego protection to a mindset of pure data collection.
Oh, I like that. Ego protection to data collection.
Right. Once you strip the emotional sting out of a complaint, what you are left with is a highly specific data point.
Yeah.
It is a literal roadmap showing you exactly where your operational system broke down.
I mean, it is incredibly difficult to not take a complaint personally in the moment, but when you reframe it like that, isn't a complaining customer essentially just a free beta testing group?
Oh, that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, because tech companies, they allocate massive budgets to hire people to intentionally break their software and find the bugs.
Exactly. Penetration testing, QA.
Right. But in a restaurant, or honestly any retail environment, a frustrated customer is just handing you a live bug report entirely for free if you are just willing to listen to it.
And that framing completely changes the power dynamic of the whole interaction.
Yeah, it does.
You stop being a victim of a complaint
Yeah.
and you become a researcher,
I love that.
which naturally leads to the next step in their reactive phase.
Oh, sure.
Because you shouldn't just passively wait for these bug reports to roll in.
Right, you have to actively solicit them.
Yes. Using another key vocabulary word from the transcript, which is feedback.
Feedback.
Sam really emphasizes that guessing what the customer wants is a massive risk.
Yeah.
You have to actively ask for their evaluation.
And this means asking very specific questions, not just the standard, was everything okay?
Right, because everyone just says fine.
Exactly. They just say fine to be polite. You have to probe into the actual experience. Like, what did you think of the new menu item? Or if you're in a corporate setting, where did you feel friction during the onboarding process?
Yeah, and the mechanism of asking for feedback like that, it serves a dual purpose.
Oh, so.
Well, practically, it highlights the systemic flaws you need to fix, like we just said, but psychologically, it alters the customer's perception of their entire relationship with you.
Oh, interesting.
When a business genuinely asks for your opinion, it signals that your individual experience carries weight.
Yeah.
It transitions the customer from feeling like they're just part of a mere transaction to feeling like a recognized collaborator.
That's powerful. So listening without defensiveness and actively seeking feedback builds this really solid reactive foundation.
Yes.
You are catching the problems, but the transcript doesn't let Lisa stop there, thankfully.
No, it doesn't.
Because catching problems is still ultimately playing defense.
Right.
To actually win in business, you have to transition to playing offense. You have to get ahead of the customer, which introduces the next major vocabulary word here, and that word is empathy.
Now, empathy in a corporate environment is so often watered down to mean simply just being nice.
Yeah, just smile at people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the source positions empathy as a highly tactical skill.
Okay, unpack that.
It is the literal cognitive exercise of actively projecting yourself into the customer's specific circumstances.
Right, and the scenario Sam paints for Lisa is incredibly vivid.
Oh, it really is.
He tells you to imagine being a customer who has been sitting at a table for 30 minutes waiting for a meal.
40 minutes.
30 minutes, you are hungry, your blood sugar is dropping, and the staff is just walking past you without even making eye contact.
The absolute worst feeling.
The worst. And he asks her to process those specific feelings. The anger, the frustration, the feeling of just being completely invisible in that room.
Right. And by running that simulation in your own mind, you map out the potential friction points of the environment. The tactical empathy requires you to ask, what specific elements of this environment would elevate my own stress levels?
Right.
And once you identify those triggers, well, you can neutralize them before the customer even registers that they're stressed.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Because once that empathetic foundation is laid, it unlocks the next vocabulary word, which is anticipate.
Anticipate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The source defines anticipating as thinking about something or predicting it before it actually happens in reality.
Yes.
And when Lisa hears this concept explained, she literally calls it magic.
Well, because from the customer's perspective, it genuinely replicates the feeling of magic.
It really does.
The text offers this classic hospitality example. Say a customer is subtly scanning the dining room, perhaps they're looking for their server, and before they even have to raise their hand or make a verbal request, a staff member just approaches and fills their water glass.
Right.
Or, a guest walks in from a freezing downpour outside, and the host immediately, without a word, guides them to a cozy table near the fireplace.
See, let me push back on the practicality of that for just a second.
Okay, go ahead.
Does this mean we have to be mind readers? Like, does this require frontline workers to constantly monitor every single micro-expression of every person in the room?
That sounds exhausting.
Right. Because expecting employees to act as borderline telepaths seems like a recipe for severe burnout. Is this actually sustainable, or is it just about having a baseline of situational awareness?
Yeah, I totally get that concern. But the sustainability comes from understanding the underlying goal here, which is really just reducing the customer's cognitive load.
Cognitive load.
Right. When a customer has to flag down a server for water, they are actively expending mental energy.
Oh, absolutely.
They have to monitor the server's path, they have to assess the exact right moment to interrupt, and then articulate their need.
It's stressful.
It is. So when a business anticipates that need, they entirely remove that cognitive burden.
Right.
The customer feels this sudden sense of ease and visibility. So to answer your question, it doesn't require mind reading. It requires systems designed around the empathy we just discussed. So if you know people get thirsty eating salty food, you build proactive water refills into the operational routine. You don't have to read their minds. You just read the situation.
That makes a lot of sense. You are basically systemizing the empathy.
Exactly.
You are baking the anticipation into the workflow so the employee doesn't have to guess or be stressed out.
Right.
But, that brings up a massive structural issue.
What's that?
Empathy and anticipation, they are phenomenal tools for a one-on-one interaction.
Sure.
But what happens if the kitchen is on fire? literally or metaphorically. You cannot simply smile and anticipate someone's need for water if the core product you are delivering is fundamentally broken.
Right. The conversation between Sam and Lisa acknowledges this exact limitation. They move from these individual behavioral skills to systemic operational strategy.
Okay.
Because you cannot outcharm a broken system.
No, you can't.
You have to look at the mechanics of how the business actually improves as a whole.
Right. And in the transcript, Lisa starts brainstorming all the potential reasons a customer might abandon a business.
And the list is long.
Very long. The food is terrible, the service is glacial, the prices are insulting, the dining room is a mess. It is an overwhelming list of potential failures.
Yeah.
But Sam introduces a very strict operational rule here. He tells her to identify the top 3 reasons customers leave, and then to relentlessly focus on fixing only those 3.
This raises an important question, though.
Which is?
Why artificially limit the scope of improvement? I mean, if a business has 15 identifiable problems, the natural impulse for a driven manager is to declare war on all 15 simultaneously.
Oh, yeah, you want to fix everything. But the transcript really highlights the danger of that impulse.
Right.
Sam warns that if you try to fix everything all at once, you deplete your resources, you completely exhaust your team, and you ultimately fix absolutely nothing.
Nothing gets done.
Exactly. It is a masterclass in realistic prioritization.
It is the essence of triage. If an organization diffuses its energy across a dozen minor inefficiencies, those major structural flaws, they just remain completely unresolved.
Right.
By isolating the top 3 critical failure points, so say kitchen ticket times, inventory shortages, and maybe table turnover management can concentrate their capital and attention until those specific metrics stabilize.
And only then do you recalibrate and target the next 3.
Exactly.
Which introduces another vital vocabulary word from the text, which is continuously.
Continuously.
The goal is to improve continuously, which means always, without a designated finish line.
Right. It never stops.
But the secret to continuous improvement isn't executing these massive, disruptive overhauls every single quarter.
No.
It is the commitment to small, incremental changes that just compound over time.
And a crucial component of that continuous improvement, as Sam explains to Lisa, is the removal of the fear of failure.
Oh, this is so important.
If an employee tries a new method to speed up service and it totally fails,
Yeah.
that is not a punishable offense.
Yeah.
It is a data point. You just learned a method that does not work, which naturally narrows the path toward the method that does. Organizations that embrace continuous small-scale failures inevitably outpace their competitors who remain just paralyzed by the need for perfection.
So we have triage, we have continuous compounding improvement, but the transcript then delivers what is honestly my absolute favorite conceptual shift in the entire deep dive.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
It introduces the vocabulary phrase, internal customer.
Yes. It completely redefines the boundaries of customer service.
It really does.
The text defines internal customers as the people within your own organization. So your coworkers, your direct reports, your managers, the adjacent departments.
I always picture this as the gears inside a mechanical watch.
Okay, I like that.
So if you are one of those gears, the external customer is the person looking at the glass face of the watch to read the time.
Right.
But your daily physical reality is not interacting with the watch face.
No, it's not.
Your reality is interlocking with the gear immediately next to you. And if you grind against your coworkers or you fail to pass momentum smoothly to the next department, well, the watch face is going to display the wrong time.
The whole system breaks.
Exactly. The external customer suffers because the internal gears failed to mesh properly.
And the transcript provides a highly practical translation of that exact watch analogy.
What was it?
It poses a scenario where a salesperson closes a huge deal but fails to communicate the logistical details clearly to the delivery team.
Oh, classic.
Right. So the delivery driver, lacking the proper information, they arrive late, and the external customer is furious.
Right, because the delivery driver was the salesperson's internal customer in that handoff.
Exactly.
Because the salesperson provided terrible internal service, the driver was just completely set up to fail, and the external customer absorbed the impact of that.
Yes.
You cannot realistically expect a company to deliver a flawless external experience if the internal ecosystem is toxic.
You really can't. It
Yeah.
dismantles that siloed thinking that customer service is solely the responsibility of the front-of-house staff or the support desk.
Right. It's everyone's job.
It mandates that every employee, even the ones who never ever speak to the public, they must view the next person and their workflow as a customer whose needs must be anticipated and met.
The architecture they have built in this conversation is just incredibly robust.
It really is.
You start by reacting calmly to feedback, avoiding defensiveness, then you move to proactive tactical empathy. Then you systemize your improvements by focusing on the top 3 issues, iterating continuously, and treating your colleagues as internal customers.
Yeah, that's the whole stack.
So the final section of the source material examines the ultimate return on investment for all of this labor.
Right, and that ROI is explored through 3 final concepts: the alchemy of handling a complaint, the mathematics of loyalty, and the pursuit of excellence.
Okay, let's look at the actual process of handling a complaint. We know we shouldn't get defensive, but Sam outlines a very specific operational sequence here.
Yes, he does.
You listen to the grievance, you collaborate with the customer to implement a fix, and then, crucially, you follow up.
The follow-up is key.
You return to the table, or you send the follow-up email, and you explicitly ask, is this resolution satisfactory?
And the text highlights a really profound psychological phenomenon that occurs when this sequence is executed properly. Often, a customer who experiences a failure that is brilliantly corrected, they actually become significantly more devoted to the brand than if the failure had never occurred in the first place.
So what does this all mean? Because it feels like a massive paradox.
It does.
You were telling me a diner who has served a cold steak, complains about it, and has the situation rectified by an empathetic manager is going to trust that restaurant more than the diner who just got a hot steak to begin with.
Yes. It is known in business theory as the service recovery paradox.
Service recovery paradox.
Right, and it makes perfect sense when you analyze how humans actually build trust.
Okay, explain that.
A seamless, frictionless transaction, well, it proves that a company's primary systems are functional.
Sure.
But a flawlessly handled crisis proves that their safety net is real.
Oh, wow.
Humans know intuitively that mistakes are inevitable. So when a business demonstrates that they will not abandon the customer when things go wrong, they prove their integrity under pressure.
That's a great point.
That vulnerability, followed by extreme competence, that forges a much deeper psychological bond than mere perfection ever could.
And that bond is what the transcript defines with the vocabulary word loyalty.
Loyalty, yes.
A loyal customer is described as someone faithful, someone who returns repeatedly. They transition from a consumer into something resembling a friend. You learn their preferences, you anticipate their specific quirks.
And the economic leverage of loyalty is staggering.
It really is.
The source points out the well-documented metric that acquiring a new customer is vastly more expensive than retaining an existing one. But it goes further than that, asserting that one truly loyal customer is effectively worth 5 customers.
Right, because of the referral engine.
Exactly.
People are so deeply skeptical of polished marketing campaigns these days, but they will blindly follow a passionate recommendation from a trusted friend,
Always.
which leads directly to the final vocabulary word of the transcript, and that is excellence.
Excellence.
The definition provided is doing things with incredibly high quality and consistently delivering your best effort.
But Lisa raises a very human objection here.
Yeah, she does.
She asks how she is supposed to maintain excellence when she is physically exhausted or, when the restaurant is just completely overwhelmed with a massive rush of people.
It's a fair question.
Very fair. And Sam's response is highly pragmatic.
What does he say?
He says the standard is not unwavering, flawless perfection at all times.
Right.
The standard is delivering the absolute best you are capable of on that specific day under those specific constraints.
So it is about the floor of your performance, not just the ceiling.
That's exactly.
When you are tired, your quote-unquote best might look different than when you are fully rested.
Sure.
But the internal commitment to not cutting corners, that part remains the same.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, excellence is not merely a matter of personal integrity or, taking pride in a job well done.
Yeah.
It is the most vital structural component of your entire business strategy. Sam actually cites a quote from Walt Disney to drive this point home.
Oh, I love this quote.
Yeah, he says, do it so well that when people see you do it, they will want to come back and see you do it again, and they will want to bring others.
Excellence is your marketing department.
It really is.
It is infinitely more cost-effective and persuasive than any targeted ad campaign. The daily operational output of your team is the only marketing that actually matters in the long run.
Period.
If the internal gears are turning smoothly, the watch face shines and the customer does the advertising for you.
The source material just brilliantly synthesizes all these moving parts. The disciplined reaction to feedback, the proactive empathy, the continuous internal optimization, they all just coalesce into an output so undeniably excellent that the customer is compelled to advocate for you.
It is a remarkable amount of strategic depth to pull from a transcript originally designed just to teach English vocabulary.
It's pretty wild.
And that highlights the true value of today's deep dive. Sam and Lisa didn't just rattle off a list of abstract corporate theories.
No.
They used everyday natural conversation to demonstrate how to actually communicate these concepts. Words like defensive, feedback, empathy, anticipate, continuously, internal customers, loyalty, and excellence.
It reinforces the reality that mastering a language and mastering high-level professional skills are deeply, deeply intertwined.
Yeah.
In both cases, you are really simply learning how to decode human behavior and connect with people more effectively.
Right. So, to you, the learner, listening right now, whether you are navigating a chaotic restaurant floor, managing a remote corporate team, or you're just trying to improve how you communicate in your daily life, the architecture remains exactly the same.
It does.
Empathy, active listening, and anticipating friction are the absolute bedrock of all successful human interactions.
When you systematically remove the friction for others, the results compound in your favor.
Absolutely. So we want to leave you with one final thought to mull over, a completely different way to apply everything we just discussed.
Okay, let's hear it.
We've talked about empathy and anticipating needs for human customers and human coworkers, but look at the modern tools you use every day, specifically artificial intelligence and large language models,
Oh, that's an interesting pivot.
right? What if you applied these exact same customer-focused communication strategies to how you prompt an AI? Instead of getting frustrated when the output is wrong, what if you viewed that bad output as feedback to improve your prompt, rather than getting defensive about your original instructions?
Oh, wow. Treat the AI as an internal customer.
Exactly. What if you used empathy to anticipate the cognitive limitations of the AI, providing it with clearer context and removing its friction points before asking it to perform a complex task?
That is fascinating.
How might treating even a machine with the intense proactive clarity we discussed today fundamentally change the quality of the work you were able to produce?
It would probably change everything.
Think about that. We will catch you on the next one.